All right, folks, we're back. We are getting into game number 1 of a best of 5 for the second match of the European Group number 2. This is, of course, all done by made possible thanks to TING. They're sponsoring this tournament, the TING Open. Spawning on the top right side, oops, as I swap the names right on the overlay, it's going to be the green Terran player, Lillekanin.
In the bottom left, as the red Terran, he's Millennium's MarineLorD.
Okay, so, I'll say this outright. I actually think MarineLorD is probably going to take this series, if we're going to be honest. But, as funny as it is, I actually think Lillekanin actually has what it takes to beat Mana and then possibly Nurchio in the finals, depending on how the group shapes up. And of course, it's worth noting that even if it is a rematch of MarineLorD and Lillekanin in the finals of the group, the curse, which has been 100% accurate through the TING Open so far, might come into effect.
Yeah. I was thinking, like whenever we have a day off again, so like in like a week and a half or whatever, that I might find myself so bored as to go and check the rates at all of our tournaments to which the curse has been in effect. Because I also want to see if it's really just the loser defeats the winner in the final, or if it is about the winner's match. If you don't win the winner's match, you lose. Okay, like I'm not sure which one it is.
You're saying whether it's more of the rematch or whether it's the fact that you fell from grace type thing.
Exactly, like which curse is it?
Okay,
yeah,
so interesting way to start this off. Lillekanin does go for a proxy. If MarineLorD has played Lillekanin more than once, he's probably experienced this at some point. I can't say that the TvT proxy feels like it's that strong, though. It doesn't have that sweet timing where you're like, yep, I got that Banshee out 30 seconds quicker to your base. It was totally worth it. But it does get revealed, and the Reaper catches this. This is like borderline GG stuff.
Yeah, because there's not getting an SCV out for it, Like, Reaper's gonna catch that SCV.
If Lillekanin had walled off with that SCV fully, you start the depot, but you cancel the build on it, you just keep his SCV out of the base. MarineLorD might not have known to intuitively do that. But he does cancel the factory and starts it up back at home. Oof. Now he's a little bit behind, not severely so, but not in a good spot, that's for certain.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible MarineLorD would have checked it anyway, as we were talking about. Lillekanin, his worst quality is that he is often just, blind countered or blind scouted, usually, because the thing is that he does have a variation of builds within, the tech structures that you see. So you can see, like, a Rax factory and Starport, but, like, what is actually coming out of those structures. And well, people just figure that if you keep on scouting, then you'll figure that out and you won't be nearly as surprised as the people that they miss the 2-port Banshee, or they think it's Banshees and it's actually Look Raiders and whatnot. It's just it's going to be definitely an uphill battle for Lillekanin. MarineLorD just has to play safe and he'll probably be fine. The other worry, of course, is Lillekanin. He either cheeses and does something weird, or he macros and does something weird, and most likely turtly. So that is the only other worry, is that you let the game go on for too long. Either like you're joking around, which you guys have been doing a lot of. That's why the videos took so long. Or you just never quite are sure you could take a fight, and he does get to like this late game like mech army, and that is still very scary. Mech, when actually at that 200-200, is still the strongest composition you can have in TvT, but just barely does anyone get there anymore.
No, like reality is like, it's not even a list of players. It's like reality, period. Is the only player that goes mech TvT that I can think of that's made it really work.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks to Smokecraft for subbing, almost that 12-month.
Yeah, and Hammock Monk says he just got a TING account thanks to BaseTradeTV. I hope that's true, and if it is, I hope you enjoy the services, friend. I'm really excited, actually. So this is not... I know it's just like, everyone's going to start shouting sellout, but I am really excited to try their services when we go to DreamHack Austin. They're going to be there for the week, so they'll be better than my roaming charges. There's no possible way that it's worse than my roaming charges, so I'm pretty excited for that.
Well, this game, besides that odd factory, does actually look like a normal TvT. We have Lillekanin choosing to be the more defensive one. Makes sense because his build was delayed, so he had to be a little more on guard. So this Banshee of MarineLorD shouldn't really be doing a whole lot, but oh no, that tank isn't near that missile turret.
No, but there's a Cyclone, there's a good chunk of Marines. He'll take some damage, but nothing you can't repair. Of course, he did go for a Viking opener. Forgot about that as well. So he's really well equipped to make sure this doesn't get too far out of hand.
Yeah.
Normally the Banshee can still squeeze in a kill or two here and there, but not in this instance.
MarineLorD going for further Banshees, especially a third one, doesn't really make a lot of sense. Okay, he cancels it. He lifts over. The second one was also, like, questionable, too. But the thing is, like, ideally controlled, these things wouldn't die. But against a Cyclone, a Viking, and a Raven, like, it's almost inevitable. He's definitely not looking for the push either. Like, another reason as to why you might want to go for more Banshees is that you're looking to push, but MarineLorD's got a third base. But look at this. Distracts with one, attacks on the left.
I mean, in fairness to Lillekanin, a lot of his opener was thrown off at that factory getting canceled the way it did. The starport's lifted, not doing anything. He's chasing her in 2 different locations at the same time. SCV losses are still somewhat minimal, but the thing I do worry about is the fact that this does look like it is in fact going to be mech. And this is where the game gets a little bit strange and different. And this is where we'll start explaining the TvT a little bit, because it's almost like watching a different race now. For MarineLorD, it's going to be everything you know, right? Marines, tanks, stim timing, all that good stuff. For Lillekanin, it's now about playing pretty defensive. And we're not talking in terms of, like, turtling up, throwing down 4 planetary fortresses and a bunch of siege tanks or anything so silly. But it is simply a matter of not taking bad engagements. Because as Zombie stated earlier, a 200-200 mech army is still something to be feared, even in the hands of a bad player, which Lillekanin certainly is not. But more to the point, it's hard to get to that 200-200 point. Because factories cost gas, because every unit that you want costs gas. And mineral income was increased in Legacy of the Void, gas income wasn't. It makes it really hard to actually max out by the time your opponent, who's going for Marines, which are primarily mineral-only units, they just get there a lot faster than you do a lot of the time.
Yeah. By the time you got like a third base down, they're already quite ahead in supply, and then maybe if you're looking towards a fourth, if you actually been able to secure the third, which happens rarely, but Dusk Towers is one of those maps where it can happen, they're like maxed out and you're on like 160. So, those players that were good against mech in Heart of the Swarm probably never lose to mech in Legacy of the Void. The players who always had trouble, they're probably still having trouble actually breaking people on specific maps like Prion, Dusk, and Orbital a little bit too. But MarineLorD, I actually can't remember if he was like the greatest against mech. There was a point where mech was actually just too good and it wasn't the BIOS player's fault, but I know he's a good player in general. And this is kind of a cool little trick.
So it's scouting for drops and things, but funny enough, there's not going to be a lot of drops and things, but it is also blocked straight up on the base if Lillekanin continues to expand later. So it's cute.
True.
It's not super duper significant, but if this was a regular TvT, he would see drops coming from all over the place.
Yeah.
He's
he never gets to a 5th or a 6th.
He's like really aggressively supply depot blocking, his opponent.
I mean, this is what, Protoss did in Heart of the Swarm, not so much in Legacy of the Void, but they had scouting pylons that were also proxy pylons, and obviously this isn't warping reinforcements, but the scouting supply depot has been experimented with, like, once every, like, 100, 200 games I see a Terran do it, and then they won't do it again for some time. Like, they kind of, like, go in and out of being in love with the concepts, but it is always a cool thing to see. Not going to be very useful in this game, as Lillekanin hasn't gone for any drops yet, but there's always a possibility of Hellbat drops. This is just purely the ground defending the third base. Missile turrets defending the main. Like, this is really just Lillekanin trying his best to do a solid mech build-up. Nothing too fancy here, not like trying to get Liberators or anything like that. And MarineLorD has taken advantage. He is up 50 supply.
Yeah. I mean, the Vikings will be great. I really like this. You'll be able to snipe off the medevacs. You won't have to worry about tank drops. The problem is still there's a lot of bio in between this, so they get in and just stim for the win. Turret's actually doing a great job. Medevacs removed from the fight, but there's still a good chunk of bio on the ground. Now as he lands the Vikings, he'll barely trade this out, but the problem is he's left with nothing. He's just left with nothing.
I also want to note that MarineLorD had not started producing Marauders until now. That was an entirely Marine tank army, and he still busted through all that.
Did not expect that to be mech, and that just shows the weakness of it, really. Again, that supply difference coming into the fight, the supply difference coming out of the fight. Now, Blue Flame Hellion is going to clean up the Marines, but there's still the problem where his opponent's got tanks left, and Lillekanin's got no way to deal with this. He doesn't have his own Liberators, he doesn't have his own Banshees. These tanks are just going to be in this really annoying spot that Hellbats will have to push into, I guess. Big thank you to Nathanius, by the way, for the 20-month resub. Appropriate time for a Terran player to be tuning into this game.
To watch mech fail yet again. Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely. Lillekanin is dead here.
But I mean, let's not forget, like, all this comes off the back end of a failed proxy. So
That's
I
true.
think we all knew how this game was probably going to play out. Lillekanin tried to play that super defensive style. It's still not over yet, but it is a situation where it essentially is because so much of the army has been culled through the attack.
You know, if it's hard to swarm and you barely push this back, I'm like, they got plenty of minerals and gas to make up another army and a half, you know, but I don't really feel like that in Legacy of the Void. Now, MarineLorD was rallying in, and as such was losing units, you know, just a bit carelessly, but now he's bulked up. He's got Liberators now, too, and Viking control, so
yeah.
That's a cool addition.
There's nothing here that's going to shoot up other than the Vikings, which he, again, should win the fight for. GG gets called, and MarineLorD will take the first game in this series.
Yes. That was also not only, like, it was almost questionable as why Lillekanin did that proxy, because Dusk Towers was his greatest, best hope of making a mech game work. Prion and Orbital are okay too, and he might try it there, but Dusk is the number one. Ruins a second.
Alright, let me go load up that map intro. Preview editor. I don't know how people do things on OBS, man. I've tried in the past. Granted, this was a year ago with Copa America, but
oh no, you can't do any large scale production.
Okay. Alright, we are getting into game, and I actually just realized I'm on my very last tissue of the box, so I'm going to go grab a new one after we do these intros. So, real quick, here in the bottom right, it's going to be the Green Terran player, Lillekanin.
In the top right has the Red Terran. He is MarineLorD.
Okay, I'll be right back real quick.
Alright then. Okay, so, yeah, these guys were talking up a storm at the Vitos. You can see here they're talking again. They are friendly with each other. And it's like, even if you weren't friends with Lillekanin, everyone knows his style. Everyone knows what he would go for. So he's got to either have, something that he's not done before, even that much on ladder, or he's just got to hope that some solid play will actually get him a win in this series. I definitely think MarineLorD's going to take it no matter what, but Lillekanin getting 2 games, you're going to a 3-2, I'd be like, okay, I could see that happening. But of course, MarineLorD also thinking that he's going to get a 3-0. You know, regardless of how this one goes, and how good Lillekanin can show his TvT, I think his chances are much better with the verse Protoss that he would be facing if he lost this. So against Mana, just the tricks can really throw off the other races a lot more than I feel in a mirror matchup.
Yeah, there's not a lot of opportunity to pull out proxies, for example, in the first place. Just on the very basis level of how Reapers work, it's so hard to actually sneak anything out. Whereas Protoss, there's a pretty good chance a probe doesn't jump up a cliff and see your factory.
Pretty good. 8 out of 10 chance.
I mean, there was that time where there's all those maps that were being trollishly replaced with Blizzard maps, or by the Blizzard maps, and you'd have Zealots that could charge and cast Storm. Missile turrets with 500... Actually, that's still one of my favorite highlight clips for myself. When I was casting these for Team Story Cup Season 2, and it was there's Axeltos, there's Take TV, there's 7 other casters in the game, and I was one of the first ones to notice that the missile turret had 500 range on it.
Yeah. I made a map for something Clan War or something, I don't even remember, and it was all good, it was all fine, and then they tried to Immortal Bust, so literally nothing happens in the game until they're ready to do the Immortal Bust. And they go up the ramp, and suddenly the Spine Crawler just rears its head, pokes at the Immortal once, makes sense, and then starts poking at the robotics on the other side of the map. And you're like, what the fuck?
You're like, oh, nice username. I see you've been around these maps before. So this is actually a really interesting choice to go for the Reapers. The Reaper and the Hellion push, we've actually seen this end lives and win games. Weirdly enough, though, I don't think it's going to work here. There's a lot of Marines already out, and even though they're down at the bottom of the ramp, it's the fact that this tank came so quickly. There's really no way for Lillekanin to utilize these units, and please 100% understand, guys, that Lillekanin was going for a build that's intended to kill and win. So the Liberator coming out is going to be interesting, because it will possibly deal with the medevac, likely deal with the tanks, but can the Reapers and Hellions tango with the Marines? And the fact is, this fight is supposed to be going down on the other side of the map. This is not supposed to be going down defensively for him. Lillekanin is supposed to be pushing his way up MarineLorD's ramp. in the ideal situation.
MarineLorD's actually following us up with a Cyclone, funnily enough. So that's usually not going to be too great at breaking walls, but rather microing in an open space. But he could send it across the map. It also maybe just used defensively. He's also getting a Viking. But I think as he sees how good this attack could do, he might just, rally it on over. He's a Liberator. A Viking would take care of that. He's going to take on both supply depots. Lillekanin might have to lift his barracks.
He can't actually. The barracks, absolutely. The reactor was a wishful thinking. As I say, you can't even just set the Liberator down on the ramp either, because the tank will dodge around it. So, this is a pretty bad situation to be in. This
might just be game, actually, because Lillekanin's on supply blocked. His Liberator doesn't do anything.
He was relying on this Liberator to do counter damage too. Gets the lock onto a Marine. Ooh.
Yeah, not ideal. The medevac would be good. Tank, obviously.
Funny enough, the Reaper gets into the dead zone of the tank, so that Reaper wasn't doing too bad until the Marines turned around. But that's everything.
Yeah, well, the Cyclone eventually would be able to take down.
This build from Lillekanin, we've seen win games. So again, like this was unfortunate because MarineLorD just had this really sick counter to it. Yeah. But this was just unfortunately MarineLorD having Lillekanin's number once again. I mean, it's very clear he knows who his opponent is. Lillekanin's strange tactics and weird ways of playing, it got him through the qualifiers. Reminding everybody, he qualified through the winner's bracket of the TING Open double elimination tournament. It was the MarineLorD who actually qualified through the loser's bracket. So, again, if you've done your appropriate homework, if you know how your opponent plays, especially if there's someone who's a little bit more gimmicky, like Lillekanin, you're going to have a good day. And, I mean, MarineLorD has absolutely just destroyed this. I can't even say Lillekanin's got a chance. Even with the command center coming over, like, he's just so far behind. Not in terms of economy, but in terms of units.
So, someone's going to bring up the fact that Lillekanin did have an easier bracket. He actually got like a pretty good bracket where there wasn't too many like really notable pro gamers that he had to face. But I still think it's impressive to get through. The brackets were never like the easiest thing in the world for Europe, especially. They were huge. They had a lot of people in them.
Oh, it was more rounds than any of the other regions. That's for certain.
For sure.
I mean, so those qualifiers ran 7.5 hours. The rest ran like 5.5.
Exactly. So it's no matter how you look at it, it is impressive that Lillekanin got to this point with how he did. But MarineLorD is just I don't know, he's probably just too good at TvT in general. Thing is that it would be anyone else, not just Lillekanin. It could be Euthermal, and I'd still say that MarineLorD actually has a really good chance to win, maybe even 3-0.
Well,
but Lillekanin, what's up?
I was gonna say, MarineLorD was also in our BaseTradeTV tournament too. Like this guy is not too shabby. That was our awesome $2,000 TvT only tournament we threw at the launch of Legacy of the Void.
Yeah, everyone got a lot of practice there. But I was gonna say, I brought it up while you were going to get more tissues, and that's MarineLorD or the Lillekanin, he could have tried to do more gimmicky stuff, like more proxies, maybe multiple Reapers, but he tried to do what was actually a normal build, and it could have worked. That build does end games, but it wasn't just that he was denied so harshly, it was that he continued with like a Liberator, for instance, that didn't do anything, and the Cyclone follow-up really did not help. Like, he could have gotten a Viking and a tank and probably been better.
Oh no.
And I don't know if this is going to deter him from doing more of like the normal builds, or encourage him that maybe this could have gone better, but he is trying to go for mech, and that's going to be a very slow build-up of units.
He was banking on having air control while going mech, just like the first time. However, this time it's not going to be the case, and as we see, quickly the 6 Vikings of his opponent dispatch with all the Vikings of Lillekanin.
Yeah. Liberators do make it... Okay, they sniped. That was a nice choice, but the tank's still on siege, so well. GG.
Yeah, GG. MarineLorD does take game number 2, and... really, Lillekanin's gotta. If he doesn't come back in this next game, he's gonna be in that losers match pretty quick. And of course, it is scary though too. Like, I gotta wonder who do you want to fight less? Like, Nurchio and Mana are both pretty scary opponent names to have. Like, the winner of this group or of this match doesn't necessarily win, right? Because you still find a really tough opponent no matter who you're going up against next.
I'm not sure. I think it depends entirely on Lillekanin and how many builds he has versus either race. I feel like we know his TVZ builds pretty well, and Nurchio should too. We saw Lillekanin versus TLO, and we saw him versus Snoot too, and he did much of the same thing. But for versus Protoss, I actually can't remember most of his odd gimmicks. So I don't know if he's just been hiding them or what. But go.
One sec, I'm trying to... okay, hold on, wait a sec. Gotta get the map intro. Come on, Riff can do this, you can do it! Okay, and got it. Okay, see you guys here in a sec. So I cannot take this extra stress, man. My head already feels like it's gonna explode. My ears are clogged. It's not a great day, but it is a good day for StarCraft. I'll say that much. This might not be the most balanced series in the world, but this really does lead into two very awesome matchups afterwards. Spawning here in the top right side, he's on his last life here in the first series of the day, but don't worry. There's still a winners and a losers match to follow this. It's going to be the green Terran player, Lillekanin.
In the bottom left, as the red Terran, he is MarineLorD.
Now, of course, again, we haven't got to talk about this because it's been going a little bit faster today than expected, but this is, of course, a tournament sponsored by TING. It's the TING Open. TING is a U.S. mobile phone service, and it's worth noting, a lot of people have been asking, like, why don't we have other language casters for this? Not necessarily today, but throughout the course of the tournament, and a big part of this was TING. They said, we're a U.S. market, as awesome as it would be to have other people involved, we really want to make sure it's the Americans who get hit home with the message. So I just want to let everyone know publicly, like, we did try and get TvT for TvT, and Emil, obviously, heart goes out to him because he really wanted to cast both Mana and Urchio today, being the Polish pride. And proud caster that he is. Hopefully the next TING tournament we can set something up that's a little bit more flexible, but I would like to thank everybody for joining us here on the stream, and a big thank you to TING for making this all possible in the first place. But 3 racks opening from MarineLorD with some Reaper action on a map like Orbital is not unexpected. Hopefully Lillekanin will be expecting it. He does have a fast factory, but that might not be good.
What's unexpected is that it's MarineLorD doing this. Lillekanin, if he continues, with his track record, you think he would be going for the 3 racks, and it'd be a very odd, funny game that I would give to Lillekanin. There are players that are just good at weird games because they find themselves in those games much more often because they themselves are weird. But it just being a straight up 3 Reaper, 3 racks versus a standard build so far from Lillekanin, it is going to come down to that control and who has the better play, basically, better control on the Reapers, or maybe smarter decision making on the defensive front. Now Lillekanin, he could have scouted this with an SCV, but he didn't bother because he was going for a factory so quickly. The thing is that this should be fine against the 3 racks, unless it was like proxy or something. So he actually gets the first Reaper, which is nice. That Reaper actually didn't do very much, which is quite a bad start for MarineLorD, but Lillekanin still has no idea that it's a 3 racks Reaper.
Right, and the Reaper snowball effect isn't the same as it is versus Zerg, where if you lose that first one, you're totally screwed. You've kind of got those grenades to fall back on. The fact that your opponent's not going to be with that mobile. But Banshee coming out means that this might not be too bad. It's just a matter of how much damage is done before that Banshee's ready to go.
Oh, there goes the Marines. That really is the only presence of an army on the map right now. And, Lillekanin, he had no idea there was a 3 racks Reaper. He thought he dealt with the first Reaper fine, and then that was going to be it. If he knew about it, if a second Reaper had come right afterwards, he might have, well, he probably would have gone for like a Hellion, for instance, and at least had that much to go back to. But he's using a lot of SCVs. The Banshee, sure, it won't be countered. There's not going to be much to defend against it on MarineLorD's side other than Marines, which are slow, but...
He's already lost so many SCVs, and the Reapers, because they take 3 hits, not 2 like a Marine, it's going to take so long to clean up.
Yeah. I think that he has done too much damage. MarineLorD, he's not even too worried. He throws down his engineering bay, like, pretty late. He saw the tech lab on the starport pretty early, but I guess...
He's got enough Marines, too. All he needs to do is hold a scan.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have Cloak. So I guess he also saw that there wasn't any research on the tech lab and figured this is no problem, then I just have to have Marines.
So friendly fire goes down. 5 SCVs remain, and unless this Banshee kills 20 workers from his opponent, Lillekanin is probably going to fall here and now.
Yeah.
Especially with the Cyclone and the turret timing, I can't see it really getting much done. It's worth noting, too, we referenced the TvT tournament earlier on from MarineLorD. He did actually go to the semifinals where he played against Bunny, if I recall. Maybe it was... No, I think it was Bunny, because I made you play the other side. And his point of it still being that the TvT meta really hasn't changed. Like, the way you play, the way you defend against cheese, TvT has not changed since the launch of Legacy of the Void. And we're seeing that really good gameplay still trickle down even here. So, congratulations to MarineLorD, who will take the series 3-0. Good guys in the group, though. You know what? I thought this was like, you know what? It's a 3-0 and a 3-0 back-to-back. It's because they know I'm sick. And they're like, oh, we don't want to keep Rifkin all day.
Of course.
That's not actually the case, but... yeah, so now we're going to have to get the losers bracket underway. We always do it this way. So it'll be MarineLorD versus Nurchio, but that'll probably be happening in about, we'll say like an hour-ish.
Probably, yeah.
But it's going to be Mana versus Lillekanin first.